Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at my gaming setup for the first time in, I think, pretty much ever. I don't think I've done a gaming setup or just my setup before, and if I have, then stuff has significantly changed since then. So I know I've done a couple of PC updates, but I'll just go over the whole thing that I've got from start to finish here. It'll be quite a quick video just because the clips I have recorded are quite quick, so let's get into my overview. Okay, so this first clip I have, and forgive the quality, it was taken on my phone, I don't have a good camera. This is my current or semi-current desk setup. So the desk is the same. I've had this desk since university, some might recall it. I've got my TV over there, which isn't plugged in at the moment, just because I do not have a cable long enough to reach over to my PC, which is on the left. So this is just a little overview. It's quite messy. I'll do a new one in a second, or a more up-to-date one. So that was my old setup. That was, roughly a week ago when I took this video. And now let's move on to the one I took just now. Well, just a second ago. So you can see my old speakers there, and the new Roccat 5 KR, or the KRK Roccat 5s are there. So my old M Audio, I think they were AV30 speakers. I've had them since, I don't know, I was 17, 18, and they needed replacing. So I replaced them, and it cost me about £260 for some pads, some cables, and the speakers. So not bad. These are fantastic speakers. I'm still wearing them in, but the sound quality is so much better. But yeah, that was my splurge for myself because I needed to upgrade them, and the old ones were on their way out. They've been used so much and so heavily. Some of the LEDs on them, or the volume LED, was now gone. So yeah, that is my speaker setup and my overview. And I've also got the M Audio M-Track, which I'm not too much of a fan of. So first, let's go over peripherals, and my keyboard I'm using, I honestly can't remember what it's called. I think it's like the Microsoft Sidewinder or something. It's really old. I've had this again for a number of years, going on 4 or 5 years now. It's all dusty and used and mashed, but I don't have enough money now because I've bought speakers to buy another one. I also have a newer purchase, which is my Kone XTD Optical. It's a fantastic mouse. I went from this really old crappy gaming mouse, which was I can't remember what it was called. What was it? I don't know. I'm looking around for it. It was just some weird unknown branded mouse, which was good. I mean, it got me where I needed to go for a while, but the Roccat Kone was just, it's the Roccat Kone, the Kone mouse, or the Roccat Kone, is just an absolute fantastic mouse, and I'm so glad it was suggested to me by a friend. And before I move on to going through my actual PC specs, I'll just go through my monitor quickly as well. This is also sort of new. I purchased it earlier in the year, so it is an AOC G2460PG, or 60, however you want to say it. It is a G-Sync monitor at 144 hertz, also 144 frames per second is what it can handle. I think it's got a really low response rate as well. Let me just go over. Yeah, 1 milliseconds response rate, and it's only a 1080p monitor. But going with what I know. 4K, my graphics card can't really handle gaming at 4K at the moment, even though it is a bit of a beast, but not the most up-to-date beast. But yeah, so that's my monitor. I really do enjoy this monitor. It's so much of an improvement over my old BenQ. It's unreal. So if you can afford this sort of thing, then yeah, go for it. Why not? Right, now we're going to get into the meat of the setups, which is my PC itself. So this is going to take more time to explain than I actually have of time, recording. So yeah, my room's a bit of a mess. Apologies. So yeah, the case. Let's just start. Is a Fractal Design Define R4. It is a very nice, one of the nicest case I've ever built in, but I would like to upgrade to maybe a bigger one with water cooling next. But yeah, this is sort of what I've settled with for now. I also, since it's in the way, when I record my audio, it's normally done through a Blue Yeti, and it's going through a Rode boom stand, or something. Not boom stand. It's like a radio arm or something. It's just a Rode arm. I don't really know what the actual product is called, but yeah, it's a Rode arm that just clamps to the desk. It's good, very nice. Carrying on with my PC, so the Fractal Design Define R4 with the windowed version with the titanium kind of brushed front is the case I've gone with. I have an optical drive in there, hardly use it, but it does Blu-ray as well. Now let's get into the actual innards, and I'll try to do all of this off memory as soon as I can. But yeah, so those the fans on the intake are Corsair SP120s, I think. They are the PWM versions, so really nice fans. Yeah, I think the only upgrade I could really do with those is going to Noctua, but I'm not really going to pay that much just to have some fans, so they work really well for me. So getting into the innards of my PC, apologies for my poor camera work. I promise if I ever have enough money, I will buy a better camera, but let's start, and I'm just going to pause the video when I can, just because I don't have enough time to explain everything. So the immediate thing you'll notice is I have an MSI Gaming G3 motherboard. I would have gone with a G5, but I don't really need to SLI. I think this is a good enough motherboard for what I need at the moment. I'm not going to afford I can't afford another graphics card, so no need to SLI, no need for all of that nonsense. Yeah, so that's what I got. It's a G3, does the job, nice and cheap, very stable motherboard. I like the BIOS a lot, so nothing more to say about that. Moving on to the CPU. So the heart and soul of the build, it is a Core i7-4770K. I had it overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz, but that was not stable. Unfortunately, I have a subpar overclocker. Or maybe I'm just not good at it, I don't know. But anyways, I've put it back to about 3.8 or 3.9 gigahertz. I'm going to try and push it to 4 at some point, but I know it's stable at this clock speed anyways. That is being cooled by a Corsair H100i, which is also front mounted, so it acts as the intake. And the reason I had it acting as an intake is because I wanted the coolest air possible going to my overclocked CPU for the best temperatures. I know that makes the ambient temperature overall a little bit hotter. You can see on the left, I also have an exhaust fan going. That's the only exhaust fan in there. It's one of the defaults that came with the case, and I really like it. So moving on to my graphics card, it is an MSI GTX 980, 4G gaming, so it's got 4 gigabytes of memory in there, and it's a solid card. I just can't doubt it. It was a powerhouse. When I bought it, it was about £500, but now it's gone down to about 300, so yay. But yeah, it's a beast of a card. Wish I could water cool it, but it's also designed to work at a hotter temperature, which is why I wasn't too bothered at having my intake fans go through my CPU radiator, just because it's going to push the hot air onto the graphics card, but it's designed to work at hotter temperatures anyways, and I think I've got good enough airflow. So that's my way of thinking. This thing is just powerful enough that it doesn't get that hot anyways, so I'm not too bothered. I mean, I have the fans set on quite a harsh curve if it ever gets too hot, and I've never heard them go to full speed, so that's even when running Crysis. Going to the bottom of the case, you can see I have an RM1000 power supply. Okay, so I know I don't need a 1000 watt power supply, okay? It's just something I bought at the time because I think, later on I'm going to SLI, and I've never gotten around to having the budget to do it, or just, doing it really. So yeah, the plan is to keep that power supply, and when I sell this one on, I'll buy a new power supply, put that in, maybe like a 650 watt thing from Corsair, because I like Corsair power supplies, and then just sell that on. So yeah, that's why I've got an RM. So that power supply is going to stay with me for a while, and another reason why it's going to stay with me for a while is because I've done all the threading, and that's a pain in the ass. Maybe I'll do a video about threading cables later, but yeah, threading your own sleeves is a pain in the ass, especially with Corsair, so I'll go through that another day maybe. But Corsair power supplies are a pain in the ass to de-pin and then thread, so sometimes it might be worth just buying some cables that work with it. But yeah, it was a pain, but I managed to do it. Moving on to my RAM, I have two 8GB sticks of Kingston HyperX Fury RAM. Nothing really much to say about them. They're good solid sticks of RAM. The only issues I do have is Windows 10 has massive amounts of memory leaks, and I'm constantly running like idle 60-70% usage. So I'd like to upgrade to more, but depending on how Windows is working, might not be possible. Okay, moving on to storage really quick to finish off. I don't have any actual footage of how I've mounted them, but I have two SSDs in the back, one for my OS and key programs, one for Steam games. So I have a 128 8GB drive for my OS, and I have a 500GB for just Steam games and stuff I want to load really quick. And then I have a 2TB Toshiba drive. So all of the specs are going to be down in the link, or in the link in the description below. And that is basically my PC. There are a couple things I'd like to sell, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, if you have any questions, please do let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.